out to Colorado and you did 54:30, and that was a race where it's in Colorado, one of the meccas of triathlon, and pretty much, I mean, you crushed Crowley's old record. So tell us a little bit about that course and that race specifically. There were pretty big names out there for that.
Unfortunately for me, I think half suits me well, but I'd rather race harder and shorter in a sense. But you kind of have to go where your talents lie in a sense. And so this was the first time at the Boulder race for me, and I had a little trouble with my bike going in. The airlines lost it, and then lost it again, and lost it again. And I was supposed to actually come back to Minneapolis, and I was going to ride Lars Fananger's bike and borrow bike shoes and goggles and everything, everything I needed to race. I was going to wear. All I had was the clothes that I flew on the plane with, and my bike ended up showing up about 5 minutes before I left the house, like 5 a.m. or something like that. So I had to put it together in 15 minutes, then ride to the race, and I just threw it on the transition rack, went and stood in the porta pot line, and then went down and started the race. It was basically, I just emptied my tri bag right next to my bike and kind of went, and then hoped everything worked out.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's the best, because all you're worried about is getting to the race on time and not worried about the race at all, and just let the chips fall as they may. And it was just, I just felt maybe it was a little bit of frustration, not being able to do anything, but I just was riding really well that day. And I don't race with a computer. I knew I was riding fast because of the gear I was in, but I came in, I think, 3 minutes ahead of the other group, and then just had another solid run. And it's a great race, a great place to have a race, and you can see why a lot of people live in Boulder and love triathlon.
Yeah, definitely. So you did that one. So you had done Spirit of Racing, then you had gone out to do Boulder 2 weeks after, and then you came back and you did Pigmen, which it's a race once again. It's one of the local races here down in Iowa, and you've won that race lots of times. And so you ended up winning that one again. And then the following weekend was Chicago, biggest triathlon in the world. Really exciting race. I mean, there's 8,500 people or something like that. And I would have to say it was one of your biggest short course performances ever. So tell us a little bit about Chicago. I mean, I'll tell you this much. I went to the pro meeting with David, and I'm sitting there, and I turn around and I see McKelly Jones, and I see, there's just so many big names there. And tell us what your experience was like.
I've been doing Chicago. I think that was my 4th time at Chicago, and it's always a tough one because I always, or traditionally, had done Pigman the week before, and so it's kind of like, I think it's almost like 3 halves in a row for me, and I'm starting to get tired. So Chicago's kind of more or less kind of like the last race of basically kind of me getting broken down and kind of having to build up my base again. And so you never really know how it's going to go. I have some good form, but I don't even, it's just hard to ride that fast. I think at Boulder I rode, I think I averaged 27.3, and even to ride that fast at Chicago is kind of hard when you start to get tired. But I didn't swim as well as I'd like to. I actually had a good start in the first swim start. There's the kind of the false first, which I got out good, and was doing well. And that swim course is so tight, if you've ever done it, that it's good to be out in front. Otherwise, you have to battle bodies and everyone. You just get beat up, and you get tired of trying to swim hard, getting pounded in the face. So the second start didn't go as well. So I really didn't have as good a swim as I like, but I rode ran nothing spectacular, had a solid ride, and then actually ran fairly well at a non-drafting race. If you can run something like low 33s or high 32s, you're gonna run well. It's hard to stop Greg when he's running 31 flat off the draft non-drafting race. So you gotta hand it to him that he deserves to win that. But I was also happy with mine. Was closing in on Craig Walton. So it was a good race for me.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so then we get actually now we're getting into September, and you were at home a little bit. Then you went out, and you've always been a big participant in the kind of Tri-California series. And so you went to do Pacific Grove, right?
Yep.
And you got 3rd there. And actually, while we're still on Chicago, let's rewind a little bit. At Chicago was when you actually found out that 101
was
canceled, done, which was really, the championship was one of the things that you were going to go and do. And obviously the other race up in Canada had been canceled previously. so that led you to want to try to get a spot for Clearwater, which meant you'd have to go to the 3 remaining races. I think it was Monaco, Singapore, and Cancun. So you went to Cancun, and tell us about Cancun. You've never been there before.
I've raced there when it was Age Group Worlds, and you kind of know it's going to kind of be a little bit off the cuff, kind of Wild Wild West style. And when they don't discuss any of the non-drafting rules at the pre-race meeting, you know it's kind of a crapshoot. So when I found out that the race was canceled at Chicago, I kind of just scrambled everything, and I went to Pacific Grove, a race that I've done before, just to kind of make sure I stay in shape and keep working out. And I ran really well there. I ran like it's non-drafting, but I ran like 31:30.
Yeah.
So that's a good a good 10K split, and